Happy day. I'm going to go ahead and post some links in here for you guys. Good morning, Philip. Good morning. So I want to get share. We want to continue on. Let's do the introduction first, and then we'll get started. So I'm posting all the links. So if you have any questions about anything, you can. If you want a mug, okay. If you want a workbook, if you want any of the things, you can. There's all the links for that. So welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. We're having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. Friends and family don't have Facebook, send them to YouTube channel. They can binge watch and subscribe to all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Don't forget, we have the books, we have the podcast, we have the movie, we have all the things, okay? If they don't want to do any of that, tell them I said Grand Rising. Good morning, Joshua. Yes, happy Veterans Day to everybody, to all the veterans out there. Some of my husbands have been veterans. So thank you. And my brothers, I have a few brothers who are in the military, who are veterans, who have retired from it, served in it. So thank you for your service. So on this great day, I hope you watched the show yesterday. I hope you enjoyed it. If you missed yesterday's show, please go back and watch it. We talked about threats and healing. And today we're gonna go with part 2 of that. Okay. That's cool, Joshua. It's nice when our family serves. You know, it's something they're proud of, and we can be proud as well. So today, let's get right to the quote of the day. The quote of the day is, I support you in your freedom to be yourself. I support you in your freedom to be yourself. That's our quote of the day. So ultimately, what we're all looking for, what we're all thinking about, is our freedom of self, right? To be free, to live and do the things that we want to do. And I support you in that. Sometimes that's all we need, somebody to support us in that. I just posted. Can you let me know if you can see it, Joshua? I just typed it in. Ooh, my tea so hot it's blurring my glasses. So let's talk. So yesterday we talked about threats and healing, and we talked about the subconscious. Thank you, Philip. A to the man. Thank you for retyping that. So today I want to do part 2 of threats and healing. So yesterday we talked about healing has become conscious to when we are unconsciously seeking chaos, how and how often. Okay, Joshua, I'll type it in just a second. Because it depends on which page you're on that it's going to show up on. And so we talked about consciously, subconsciously picking chaos and what that looks like for us, right? Good morning, Tammy. And so here we are in part 2. So I was thinking this morning, and I was really going to pick another thought, but I felt like there was something more to go with this threat and healing. So if my quote of the day is, I support you in your freedom to be yourself. So now we're with our threats and our healings. Now that I am consciously aware of my subconscious mind seeking out chaos, now that I'm paying attention to my subconscious mind, your next rational thought is, now what? Well, Jojo, I'm paying attention to where my chaos is coming from. I'm paying attention to my triggers. I'm paying attention to these things. Now what? Now what do I do? And I jotted down a 4, and we'll go through them, and I feel like there's something bubbling up inside of me, but I don't want to push it down. I want it to bubble over. So I'm going to allow it to come as it comes. So the first thing that we do, that we started paying attention to our subconscious mind, number one, we begin to retell a different story to our body. We begin to retell a new story to our body. Meaning and so in my telling of the story of the chaos, and if my environment was unstable most of my life, I have created a codependency on chaos. I've created a codependency on a parent, a situation, a relationship. I've created a codependency on something, right? Codependency is simply a lack of or neglect of myself. Me codepending on something is me neglecting myself, assuming that I have no value in my words, I have no value in my thoughts, I have no value in my feelings. So my codependency to this thing, person, place, thing, or noun becomes you saying, because I don't value who I am, I'm going to go all in on this thing. I'm going to go all in and being a people pleaser. I'm going to go all in and try to fix everybody. I'm going to go all in to do this thing. When you have a codependency relationship because you lack or you've been neglecting yourself. You have a lack of self-love for yourself. Good morning, Miss Lowe. So if I'm consciously paying attention to my subconscious mind, right? And then the first thing, now that you're aware, you're like, JoJo, now what? Number one, I've got to begin to retell the story to my body. My body has got to learn a new story. And in me telling a new story, I've got to look at the things that I'm codependent upon. So if I'm codependent upon the fact that your mama this may not be her strong point. And so now your codependency is to parent her, which is not your job. And as you begin to step away, you're breaking a codependency relationship and tie. And that is difficult because in the breaking of the codependency, whether it's drug, alcohol, mental, emotionally, physically, financially, your whole identity is wrapped up in it, because codependency is simply a lack of understanding the value of who you are. You don't value your words. You don't value yourself. So I might as well please everybody else. And then you become an overachiever. You become deeper into that people pleaser because you have yet to value yourself. Go back to the quote of the day. I support you in your freedom to be yourself. So number one, I'm retelling my body a different story. I retell it a different story by acknowledging my codependent habits, relationships. And then, friend, you have to decide. You don't have to. These are just suggestions, something to make you go, You have to decide if you're willing to give up that codependency relationship, because it sits inside of your comfort of crazy. And you may say, JoJo, it's really not codependency. Okay. I'm not fixing to argue with you. I agree. It could not be. I'm just simply asking you to ask yourself a question. So if number one is allowing myself to retell a different story to my body. Number two, I do that by using my words and my language. I'm a big support of word exchange. And if you ever heard of NLP, it is really a lot about words, the definitions of them, and how we as humans internalize words and they take on meanings inside of our body that create our reality. So if I am, good morning, Tiffany. So if yesterday we talked about the threat and the healing part, and I'm consciously aware of my subconscious mind, right? And I'm becoming aware of that, of when I'm seeking out chaos and how often, I've got to begin to tell my body a new story. I got to begin to tell my body that it is safe here. And as I do that, the second thing I've got to do is I got to do it with words and language. Okay. And as I do it with words and language, I'm now substituting, because the words and language is going to be real important when you look at these codependent relationships. Good morning, Lisa. And codependency is a neglect of yourself through pleasing someone else. So I'm going to neglect who I am because I find no value in myself. And it could be like we talked about yesterday, that it is our environment that is unstable. Because my environment is unstable, I have different coping mechanisms and my body reacts a certain way. Please go back and watch yesterday's show because it's too much. I don't want to go back that away because it was a lot, but it was a great show. So if codependency is neglect of myself to give to somebody else because I'm not honoring me, I create that codependent relationship. So as I begin to tell myself a new story and my body begins to move and adjust to something different than the trauma that it was used to holding on to, I've got to be able to use my words and my language to do that. If I don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, my body doesn't either. Your body goes where the mind tells it. So I've got to tell it where we're going. I got to give it something else. As we talked about yesterday, being hypersensitive and the chemical reactions of always being in chaos, and I'm cutting off that drug, I need a support system. I support you in your freedom to be yourself. So number 3, as I'm telling the story, I'm looking at the words in the language, I'm acknowledging my triggers, which is part of yesterday. Healing has becoming conscious to the subconscious me of when I'm picking up the chaos. So as I'm acknowledging it, I'm acknowledging my triggers. Because what we cannot do is go through this growth phase and assume that we do not have to address the triggers, that they're going to go away. They shan't, they can't, they won't, they will not, they have not, they should not. They're going to stay in a negative. Because if I'm not willing to acknowledge them, they never go away. They strengthen my codependency upon them. Well, I've always done for my mama. And listen, and this doesn't apply to everybody, because some of us have amazing relationships with our parents. We've never had any trauma to go through. We've never had any of these issues. Maybe you know somebody who has. Please take what you need and leave the rest for somebody else. I'm saying that in our growth process, as we go through these things, we've got to be aware of our triggers and where the codependency step in. For me, if my environment growing up was so unstable, I didn't know how I was supposed to act when I came home, because I didn't know if they were going to be fighting that day or not. I didn't sleep well because I needed to stay partially awake. So in case my daddy decided to hit my mama, I needed to go protect her. So then I stepped into the protector role early at 3 and 4. I was the protector of my mama. And then I became the protector of my sister. Well, nobody told me you don't do that at a young age, JoJo. So I carried it throughout my life and created codependent relationships because I lacked understanding for myself, that my emotions, my thoughts and feelings were valid, and to value them. So as I neglected them, it became a codependent relationship. So I became a fixer. I became a saver. I became the person everybody comes to for problems. To this day, I am the go-to person in my family. Whenever there's a problem, they call JoJo. Where do you think that fixer mentality came from? It came from growing up in an unstable environment. And I saw my healing as a threat, because if I'm no longer a fixer, if I'm no longer doing this, if I'm no longer helping and saving anybody, who am I? So I had to begin to retell a different story to my body. I had to use my words and my language. Number 3, I had to acknowledge the triggers that went along with that. In this journey, you're going to have to pay attention to them, because if we do not pay attention to the triggers and the acknowledgement of the things that we have been through, that we're growing through, we're apt to repeat them. You ignoring it doesn't mean it goes away. Absolutely, Philip. And it's insane that we have to do that. But it happened. It happened, and we are moving on with life. It's not defining us in this moment. Whatever trauma, issue, pain, problem, past, If you are standing at the gate respectfully asking for something new and different, it's you saying this part no longer exists. I can't honor that part anymore. I am removing myself from trauma. I'm growing further and further away from it. Okay. And number 4, the last one is silence. As you begin to do this, you need to sit in silence. So as I support you in your freedom to be yourself, I support you wholeheartedly. And here's the most amazing thing, friend. Your healing and your support can look any way you want it to look. It's not predefined. It's not set a certain way. You ain't got to follow my rules. If this feels good to you, if you understand it, and it is words that you're just like, you know what, this makes sense, then you take it and you use it. If it's not, you leave it for somebody else. And that's the beautiful thing about this journey. You get to take what you need, apply it, and leave what doesn't fit. And you get to create this new story that you're going to begin to tell your body. So in the silence phase, and I know y'all have heard me tell the story a gazillion times, is in the silence phase is where the answer is. We cannot find the answer if I'm always talking. If I'm always praying, I can't hear the answer. If I'm always before the face of God, and somebody's going to get mad at me. If I'm always before the face of God, I'm always on my knees and I'm bowing down and I'm praying and I keep reminding God, Jesus, the universe, whomever you pray to, and I keep saying, but did you forget about my problem? Well, let me remind you of my problem. We're not exercising our faith in that moment. These are my opinions. I'm not exercising my faith in that moment. I'm exercising my inability to have faith in myself and the God that I serve, that what I ask for and pray for and relief for is coming. The answer is in the silence. So sometimes when you sit in the silence, the answer is there. The answer is there. What do you do when you're in the car and you're lost? Somebody type that in. What do you do when you're in the car and you're lost? What's the first thing that you do? The first thing that you do when you're in the car and you're lost, you have no idea where you're going. What is the first thing that you do? Besides panic, Philip. Yeah, we're going to panic. If you're driving, the first thing you do when you're lost is you turn the volume down on the radio, because you cannot see where you're going and listen at the same time. Come on, Jojo. I knew this was going to bubble up somewhere. I can't see where I'm going and listen at the same time. One of those things has got to be turned down so the dominant one can pay attention. So if I need direction, I've got to quiet all the other noise so that I can see where I'm going. I can pay attention. So if I'm in a panic mode and I feel like I need to listen, then I need to stop the vehicle. I need to turn something off so that I can fully listen to the words that are being transmitted through the radio. I can't do both. That's your body's natural instinct of telling you only one dominant sense can rule in this moment. Only one. So if we're lost and I'm standing still, if I'm lost and I'm moving, I need to stand still so I can listen, or I need to turn that volume down so I can pay attention to where I'm going. And that volume could be the outside people that you have that may have helped you create that codependency relationship. It could be the people that help that with that unstable environment. It could be all the things, but because you're trying to listen and go forward at the same time, you don't know where the hell to go. And like Philip said, you begin to panic. I don't know what to do. Do I keep driving or do I listen? And because we don't know what to do, we keep driving and we get lost and we get lost. And we get lost in the circle of me. I've taken a left. Turn down one of those. Focus on which one. So for me, sitting in silence is me turning down a sense of seeing. Me sitting in silence is me choosing to listen to the frequency that's coming through the radio. For those who read the Bible, and my Bible scholar, somebody, maybe if Tiffany's still on here, she can knows what I'm talking about. When Elijah went hid in the mountain, first of all, Elijah was running from a woman because he was scared, because she said, I'm gonna kill you. And he was like, oh no, you're not fixing to kill me. And he went running off to another city because she was determined to kill him. That's a whole nother story. So he went, remember, he went hid in the mountains, and he was so exhausted and tired. And he said he was listening for the voice of God. And what came, there were 3 different things that came. We had the wind, we had all the things, but it wasn't until he was still and quiet that he heard what he needed to hear. Sometimes, friend, the answer is right before us. But because I'm trying to drive and listen at the same time, and both of those senses are overwhelming. And so my quiet time, there's 5 keys to live past crazy. Number 1 is to be quiet. So if I'm sitting still and I'm quiet, maybe I can hear my direction a little clearer. Maybe I can hear where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do just a little bit clearer. Y'all with me? So if threats and healing, so my old me is a threat to the healing of the new me. Please go back and watch yesterday's show. It was really, really good. We often have so much discomfort and change because it threatens our identity of self. You have been stuck in that codependency because your environment is so chaotic that when you decide to heal, it is a threat to who you are. And now you have so much friction and war going on inside of you. Nobody can love you through this. You have to self-love yourself through this. It may have started as a child and it's grown. Y'all, please go back and watch. I tell y'all the whole story about me, and maybe today will make a little bit more sense. So in part 2, now that we've done all the things, here are 4 things. Jojo, now that I'm consciously, subconsciously aware of where I'm seeking out chaos, how I'm seeking it out, where I'm seeking it out, who I'm trying to get it from, because my body is addicted to it. Now that I'm aware of that, what do I do? Number 1, I begin to tell my body a different story. I begin to tell my body a different story by number 2, using my words and my language. I am meticulous and intentional about the words that are coming out of my mouth. I don't jokingly say, girl, you stupid. I don't jokingly say that. I don't jokingly say anything, because your mind and your body begin to internalize. And you can say, Jojo, it's not that serious. Please go read your Bible. It's a book of psychology and the importance of words. Psalms and Proverbs is all about the importance of your words. Okay. The whole Bible, but you can start there. Start at the beginning of the Bible, honey. In the beginning was the what? So if words were not important, why in the beginning that's all there was? And if words in the beginning that's all there was, then why do you assume your words are not important? So 1, begin to retell my body a different story. 2, pay attention to the words that are coming out of my mouth. And then as I'm paying attention to my words and my language, I'm going to begin to pay attention to the words and the language that people are saying to me. And I'm going to decide which word I'm fixing to pick up today. Number 3, I'm going to acknowledge where I am and acknowledge my triggers. Because if I don't acknowledge them, they won't go away. And I'm never going to get out of yesterday. I'm still going to stay in that threat and healing phase where I'm going back and forth and it ain't working. And then number 4, I'm going to be silent. I'm going to let a dominant sense take over. So in that moment, I'm not trying to see with my eyes. I'm trying to listen with both of my ears. And I'm going to sit in silence. Absolutely, Philip. Self-love. And we overuse that word. We overuse self-love, self-care. We overuse these words. You need to begin to redefine them for yourself and what that means for you. You do that by doing the word exercise. So if consciously aware of my subconscious mind seeking out chaos because I grew up in an unstable environment, and that's all I know. And it now looks like me being a people pleaser, me being a fixer, me doing all the things and being always available to everybody who calls me, because I lack my self-love for myself, because I have a codependent relationship on other people. And codependency is simply the lack of my own self-acknowledgement and love for who I am, what I have to say, my emotions, my feelings, because they're all valid. But when I had that codependency relationship, I don't think so. I don't think so, because my environment, which was unstable, told me that me not people pleasing to make other people feel better, me not being protector, means I don't love this person. It means I don't love my family member. Well, if I'm not going to people please and take care of them and protect them, that means I don't love them. Somebody gave you that definition. You, friend, have to decide if it's yours to carry, if it's yours to stay with you, if it's yours to define your life. So if I'm aware now today, then I'm going to begin to retell my body a new story. I'm going to use my words and my language. I'm going to acknowledge my triggers and my thoughts that come along with it. And I'm going to be silent and listen to what my body, your body will absolutely tell you how it needs to heal if you allow it. If you allow it. So in this great morning, the quote of the day is, I support you in your freedom to be yourself. I support you in your freedom to be yourself. So as you begin to be yourself, I'm going to type this over here for you. As you are yourself, as you begin to understand more, as you begin to subconsciously look at your conscious mind, or consciously look at your subconscious mind, as you look at, am I a people pleaser and why? So we walked through a whole lot of JoJo issues yesterday. So please go back and watch that, not because, I need to hear the tea, but for a learning experience or a learning opportunity to see if you see any of you in my story. So as I support you in your freedom to be yourself, as I support you in your space, as I support you with all the things today, absolutely, Philip, it's lack of self-love. And I can't fix everybody. I'm not going to be able to please everybody. And it's never going to be enough for me to make me feel better. Somewhere along the way, I have to acknowledge that I am worthy of this journey in this life, just like everybody else. Everybody is clearly aware of what you give and what they can take from you. You, my friend, are not aware of what you can give to yourself. You deserve it just like everybody else. Not only do you deserve it, it is your honor to be your true self. It is your honor and your pleasure to acknowledge yourself as you begin this journey. Absolutely. I had to become this. Absolutely, Philip. So as we choose to love ourselves, as I choose me on this journey, and it doesn't mean that I am neglecting anybody or any other responsibility around me. It simply means that I understand that in order for me to be a better steward of this life that I was given, then I need to take care of me. So on this great day, I want you to have the most amazing day ever. I want you to be peaceful, period, because there's absolutely nothing after that. I hope this has helped somebody today, guys. If it has, please let me know. If it hasn't, honey, please leave it for somebody else. But today, I support you, right, in your freedom to be yourself, whatever that looks like for you. You get to redefine what freedom looks like for you. We gave some exercises yesterday and some journal entry prompts. So go back and watch that yesterday. Go back and watch that yesterday. Go back and watch yesterday's show and get those thought processes and that journal entry. And listen, I'm not a counselor. I am not a trained professional. I am simply sharing with you the keys that I've used to live past crazy. So what better place to be than here with me. So as I learn, we are all elevating together. As I go up, you're going up. As I go deeper, you guys are going deeper. There are levels to this. Okay. So on this great day, thank you, Philip. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning. Hope you have the most amazing day ever. And I'll see you guys here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Yes, Philip. Walking us home, A to the men.